Breading Manufacturing is proud to celebrate 125 years in business and the fifth generation of the Breading family joining the ranks of managing the company. It all began in 1880 when Christopher George Breading set sail for America. Christopher George, commonly known as CG, boarded the TSS Rotterdam at 26 years old. Upon arriving in New York May 1, 1880, he is listed on the passenger log as Christoph Breading, a laborer from Germany. When CG first came to America, he worked for his uncle, John C. Roth, owner of a meat-packing company in Ohio. In 1882, CG became a naturalized citizen of the United States of America. He traveled through the St. Louis, Missouri area, where he met and married Jane Elizabeth Richards in 1885. They ventured on to Fargo, North Dakota, where they welcomed their first son, Ralph Christopher. CG worked at the Union Pacific Railway Company. At that time, several businessmen were trying to generate interest in their city. They boasted that Ashland would become the Chicago of the Northland. One gentleman, John Parrish, a businessman from Chicago, took a leap. Mr. Parrish reached an agreement to build an operation in Ashland, and construction began. CG moved his family to Ashland. He began working at Parrish Manufacturing, and it was not long before he became the superintendent. A short time later, he purchased the Parrish Manufacturing Company and renamed it CG Breading Manufacturing Company. With 500 workers, it was a large operation with shops, warehouses, woodworking, foundry, and its own dock in Lake Superior. From 1890 into the 1920s, the company manufactured machinery and equipment for the sawmill industry. The Ashland area had the world's largest concentration of sawmills that harvested the great white pine forests of the region. In 1901, CG purchased a home for his family at 222 Prentice Avenue in Ashland. This home still exists today. By this time, CG and Jane were blessed with 3 sons, Ralph, Howard, and Lyman. On May 31, 1904, Christopher George Breading passed away at 50 years old while on vacation with his wife in St. Louis. Jane was faced with raising 3 sons on her own. Ralph was 17, Howard was 10, and Lyman was just 4 years old. Jane and Ralph went into action to keep the business running. Jane was now president and Ralph the general manager at just 17 years old. Jane was already authorized to manage the company and was often left in charge when CG was out of town on business. With this transition in management came a transition in manufacturing. Because of the depleting number of sawmills and the increasing number of mines, Breading began catering to the needs of the mining and shipping industry. In 1926, CG's youngest son Lyman returned to Ashland with an engineering degree from MIT and worked for his brother Ralph.
I know Lyman, I've talked to him several times, and I got along with Lyman very well, and he would spend a month going out to school. You know, he'd get in his car with his dog, and he would go, he'd forever get into Boston.
Lyman assumed the position of president and general manager in 1929 after Ralph moved to Green Bay. He was the sole operator of the company until 1958. In 1929, Breading Manufacturing began to manufacture paper converting equipment designed by and for the Marathon paper mill. By the 1950s, the mining industry heyday was over. Breading reached another fork in the road. In 1958, Tad returned to Ashland with a business degree from the University of Notre Dame and went into business with his father. Lyman continued to be involved with the business until he retired in 1965. Tad took over sole management of the company with 12 workers and his wife Barbara as secretary. In the early 1960s, Breading began to concentrate on the design and manufacture of paper converting equipment. The first Breading napkin folder was shipped in 1965.
Well, the first napkin folder we ever built, we sold for $35,000. You can believe that.
A A new office was constructed in 1969. The old office was torn down shortly thereafter. By the mid-1970s, the reputation of breading had spread and the company began receiving inquiries from all over the world. Breading pioneered automatic count and separation, and by 1974, the first automatic napkin folder shipped. This allowed breading to lead the industry as the demand for dispenser napkins increased with the popularity of fast food restaurants. And just 2 years later, our first interfolder machine was created. On July 20th, 1979, Lyman Breading passed away at the age of 80.
Lyman was in there with Jim, because he used to come down just about every day and walk around and talk to some of the old timers and stuff. And we were really starting to boom then, you know, because of the fast food industry and stuff, and that's when we were here every night and Saturday trying to keep up. And Lyman said, well, Jim, he says, I looked around, he says, and I think the boys are gonna be successful. He was talking about you and Dad, you know. I think they're gonna do all right, he said.
By 1988, the fourth generation of the Breading family was now active in the business. In 1989, Tad was honored by the United States Small Business Administration as the National Small Business Person of the Year. His award was presented by President George Bush.
Tad's got business in his blood. His family has been in the machinery business for three generations, almost 100 years. He joined the family business in 1958, and those 30 years have seen the Breading Company grow and prosper from 11 employees back in 1958 to 260 today, from $120,000 in sales each year to $30 million. And today his company is the world's leading producer of high-tech, custom-designed machinery for making paper products. Congratulations to you, Tad.
If it could be successful and remain just like we are, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's large enough. You know, growth for the sake of growth really is not my, or is not what I'm looking for. We have had good growth, but I don't think that should be the purpose of the business, is growing just for the sake of growing.
I take very little credit. If I can take any credit at all, it's I guess having the ability to hire the right people. I contend that anybody can buy machinery and put up buildings, but to have the right people, that's the key.
David Breading was named Chief Operating Officer in 1995. By 1997, Tad turned over the company to his sons, David and Paul. David took the role of President and Chief Executive Officer, and Paul took the role of Chief Operating Officer. Tad was inducted into the Paper Industry International Hall of Fame in 1999. Contract Manufacturing Services, also known as CMS, expanded its offering to customers throughout the Midwest in 2001 by providing fabrication, machining, and assembly to a variety of industries. In 2002, Breading introduced the LCI Series equipment at Tissue World Americas. On September 12, 2003, Tad Breading passed away at the age of 67.
Well, it is pretty good business right now, and of course Paul and David have evidently done a very good job managing it since Tad passed away. And it's unfortunate that he passed away at the age that he did, but that's part of life, you know, it's, yeah.
Breading introduced the Elite Series napkin folder in 2005. 2006 marked the introduction of the high-speed multi-fold towel interfolder. Breading acquired poly-wrapping technology in 2009 to begin sales and service of poly-wrappers. March 5, 2011, Breading acquired S&S Specialty Systems in Iron River, Wisconsin, offering expansion into the nonwovens market. Concurrently, the company entered the bag machine market using S&S as the center of operation. This year, we welcomed 2 Breddings to the company, Ricky Bredding and Sean Bredding, as mechanical engineers. Bredding has been fortunate to commemorate 125 years of heritage, pride, and manufacturing in Ashland, with its excellent work ethic and stable workforce. With over 400 employees, the company, which spans over 280,000 square feet, supplies converting equipment and service to 39 countries involving 17 different languages. We deliver on our promise, earning the right to be the customer's choice.
I've walked through a couple of times looking for Craig for something or another a couple of times, and it's beautiful business, no question about it. Been well managed. That's the trick to anything, isn't it?
Yeah.